Hey everybody, welcome back again. So we are continuing our KCSA prep questions. So in case you don't know me, I'm the founder of Code Janitor and I'm also recently KCSA certified, and I want to help engineers like you clear the exams without any ambiguity in your mind. Okay, so without further much ado, let's jump right into solving question number 6 onward. So in the previous video we did from question number 1 to question number 5, and today my target is also going to be question number 6 to number 10, so I didn't take your time, and then I can also use some of my time to do other things. Okay, so without further much ado, I will start by reading the question number 6. So what does it say? So it says, what is the main risk of a client certificate that places a user in the system master group? Okay, so whenever you have a client certificate, and then it has the system master group attached to it, what is the risk of such a certificate? That's all such a question might be asking us. So one, the certificate only works for one namespace. That is good. The certificate could work for only one namespace. Okay. The user is limited to read only API access. Remember, there is nothing about read only API access here. Okay. The user effectively gain administrative privilege. Now, remember, there is something called system masters. So this is something very crucial. Okay. Now, the next thing is also, the next choice is also the certificate is ignored by the API server. Why would it be ignored by the API server? There is no restrictions here. So how will you select the best answer from here? Now, when you see the questions, look for the main criteria they're asking for. So system masters. So even if you don't know, you see system masters group, it means that this is a master privilege that we are giving. It's like a pseudo privilege that we are giving. So you are going to be able to bypass many role-based access controls. Any controls that you have within your cluster, we can bypass them if we have a certificate in this group. So what will be the best answer? So the best answer is going to be the user effectively gain administrative privilege. Administrative privilege because system masters. Okay, system masters gives administrative privilege. It's like a pseudo privilege that you give. So I will select that one, and then you can see that's a correct answer. So what is the explanation? So the explanation: membership in a system master is highly privileged and effectively bypass normal RBAC restriction. Exactly. So it can bypass any restriction that you've put in your cluster. Okay, so don't do that. So it's very risky to do that. Okay, so let's move on to question number 7. That brings us to question number 7, which is, which Kubernetes component serves as the primary entry point for kubectl request? So primary entry point for kubectl request. If you know the answer, you might have chosen it already, but let's say we don't know. So we will go through one by one again. So it's gonna be the first choice is going to be kubelet. So kubelet is one of the components, but it doesn't serve as the primary entry point for kubectl. Kube API is a good one because it could serve as the primary entry point. I have to say it in a way so that, let's say we are in the exams together. Okay, so you understand the question and how to also choose the best ones. And then the next one, it says kube scheduler. What does a scheduler do? Scheduler is only responsible for scheduling pods. Okay, scheduler is responsible for scheduling of pods. So we are talking about the primary entry point for kubectl request. So now it's a request. Okay, a request to do all the CRUD operations. CRUD operation is not a magic word. It just stands for creating, reading, updating, and deleting resources. Okay, if you don't know about CRUD, you can research about it and then you'll be able to come up to speed. Okay, so the best answer, the next one, the last option is HCD. HCD is way far out. HCD is mainly for storage of the cluster information. So why would we choose that? We are talking about the entry point for the kubectl. So my best choice will go, I'll go with KubeAPI server. So let's go with KubeAPI server. Now let's read the explanation. The API server is the front end of the control plane and receives client request. Exactly, it just receives client request. So any request, any CRUD request that you send, it just goes through the KubeAPI server. So it is the primary entry point for kubectl request. So kubectl get ports. Kube is a request to get ports. So KubeAPI server, boom, will deploy, and then it will do its job. Okay. The next question, we have question number 8. Then whilst we are also on question number 8, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also comment. Let me know which options that you select, or also comment, give me feedback on how I'm doing. Again, I want to do better for you. Also trying to put valuable content here for you so that you can be able to become a certified Kubernetes engineer. Well, it will be my dream to also see you become a KubeAstronaut. Whilst not necessary, it is very crucial in this day and age if you know a thing or two about Kubernetes. Okay, so if you are learning, please learn it very well. Okay, and I'm here to support you all the way, so you too support me as you can, my friend. The next question is question number 8. Is going to be, an attacker disables audit log. Forwarding, you have to read it slowly, because again, if English is not your first language, as it's not as mine, you have to take your time reading the question. Otherwise, you would feel like it's very wordy, you know. So if you don't want it to feel very wordy, now I have to pause and then talk to you a little bit, so you also try to understand what goes through the mind when you are sitting on the exam, because remember, there is going to be time pressure again. So an attacker disables audit log forwarding. You pause. So their actions are harder to trace. Nice. Which stride category fits best? And again, if you don't know about stride, then this is going to be very challenging for you. This is going to be very, very, very challenging for you. But again, let me go with you, and then we will search for stride. So stride threat model. You can see stride threat model. Then we can just open this image here and just try to find a little bit about stride. So it is abbreviation. So what does the S stand for? The S stands for spoofing. So what is spoofing? Spoofing is when, let's say you want to, let's say I want to be very bad, you know, I want to do something bad to you. No, I want to, let's bring it down. Let's say I want to steal money from your parents. Okay, so now I will find a way to ensure that I will call your mom from my phone, but letting it come in from your phone, so your mom will think that it is you. Now, if somebody does that, it is called spoofing, because now they spoof. Let's say so we have a lot, like phone spoofing, email spoofing. So if you don't know a lot about all these things, it's going to harm you. I'm not going to steal your mom, but I'm just giving you a scenario here so that you can try and understand. Okay, I'm a very diligent guy and I'm very nice, you know. So again, if you spoof, it means that you've changed your identity to pretend to be someone that you are not. So that is what we call spoofing. Okay, so we can do many things with spoofing. So spoofing, we can have spoofing of the router. There's a lot. I just don't want to confuse you now. Yeah, there's something called man in the middle attack. You don't need to be a security researcher, because I've dazzled with all these topics, so it's very easy for me to know when I see this stuff. So spoofing is there. So spoofing identity, yes, we spoof identity. And tampering, the T stands for tampering. The tampering with data. So it's like you have a data, and then I come. So the data ID is 3, and then you came and then changed the ID from 3 to 4 without my permission. Now you've breached security. Repudiation, this is a very big word. Repudiation. So repudiation, I don't even know repudiation, but it stands for the ability to deny action, because repudiation, the ability to deny action. Okay. And then the I stand for information. You know, everybody understand information. If you don't understand information, then please take English 101. So information disclosure. Now, information disclosure. Then information disclosure become a very key term that you need to understand. So information disclosure is when you, let's say you have an application, and then I'm able to manipulate your application to give me information that I shouldn't be seeing, you know, if I'm not authenticated. So an unauthenticated user, there's a difference between authentication and what is the other one? Let's search for it. Difference between, there's one I have to remember. Difference between authentication and authorization. Exactly, big word again. Difference between authentication and authorization. If you don't know about it, please read about it. You can do a small Google search as I've done and then read about it, or you can also open ChatGPT and then work with it fast. So we'll move on. The next thing is also denial of service. So denial of service. Now you want to access the internet, and then a bad person came sitting behind your house trying to send a lot of data packets onto your network so that you don't have access to the internet, and then you can't reach YouTube to watch me. That will become denial of service. Okay, so let's go back to our question and try to solve it. Which stride category fit best? Sorry about that. Oh, my throat. So you need to also get something to drink. Okay, so it says the attacker disables audit log forwarding, so their actions are harder to trace. Okay, now you might be getting confused because it says the actor disables audit log. Now you might be thinking, if you know anything, you might be thinking about tampering. So now we've tampered with the audit log file. So forwarding so that their actions are harder to trace. So we can't trace them whenever incident responders come. They can't find out what really happened because the attacker has really covered their track very well. In security, what is that called? I just forgot the term. When it comes to my mind, I will just say it. But yeah, I've forgotten the term. There's a very fancy one. It's called, I really need to remember this one, because it's the incident response that will look for the threat actors. But then I forgot the term. Yeah, but let's move on. That's not the most important thing. So it says which stride category fit best. So one is spoofing. The attacker did not lie, so it is not spoofing. Basic term. When we lie, it's spoofing. Okay, when we put our hand on something that we are not allowed to, that is tampering. An attacker disables audit log for forwarding. That could be tampering because we are putting our hand on something. Okay, but let's move on. Repudiation. So we'll go back to the stride again. Stride threat model. Repudiation, the ability to deny action taking, complicating accountability. Now you understand, complicating accountability, because when threat actors come, they will try to hide their traces so that incident responders won't be able to find them. Okay, so now accountability is demised. Okay, when accountability is demised, then we are doing something with repudiation. So disabling audit log forwarding, so their actions are harder to trace. That is the key word. Harder to trace. That's all. Repudiation. We go with repudiation, but let's read the last one. Denial of service. Now, nobody is blocking you from accessing the internet, so this is not denial of service. Okay, when you see denial of service, think about blockage to have access to the internet. Okay, if somebody is blocking you to have access to the internet, that is denial of service. So, and that is a crime. Okay, so we will go with repudiation, and then what's the explanation? Involves hiding or denying action by weakening accountability and evidence. That's all. Very true. Next, question number 9, the last but not the least. Which organization publishes the Kubernetes benchmark commonly used for hardening guidance? So which organization is responsible for providing all the Kubernetes benchmarks that are commonly used for hardening our cluster? So 1, CIS, 2, OWASP, 3, CNCF, and 4, IETF. So the organization that is responsible, this one you need to know. So the organization that is needed for publishing benchmarks for hardening cluster guidance is this one, Center for Internet Security. OWASP is for application. All the vulnerabilities for all applications are listed under the top 10 OWASP vulnerabilities discovery that you need to know so that you can actually prevent your application falling into victims' hand. Okay, so you need to know that. So it is the Center for Internet Security publishes for the Center for Internet Security. They are the responsible for publishing Kubernetes benchmark. So we will move forward. The last step, again, please remember to check the link in the description down below if you need access to practice with this exams question, and this could really help you, because don't just watch me, you need to practice it. You need to do it over and over. If you're able to do these questions 3, 4, 5 times before you sit the exams, try to understand all the concepts. It's not about the question. Try to understand all the concepts, and then you'll be able to pass the exams. Because if you understand the concept never change, but the word of the questions may change. So you don't have to go in the exams expecting that somebody have gotten you exams word for word questions. No, nobody can do that for you, but you can actually follow the concept of the exams, and then if you understand the concept of the exams, you'll be able to clear it without a doubt. Okay, I know that by now that I've talked my mouth out, somebody has already selected the answer, but that's good. So if you have already, please share it in the comment down below. Let's see what you selected. Okay, so what is a standard way kubeproxy implemented service forwarding on many clusters? What is the standard way a kubeproxy implements service forwarding on many clusters? 1, by updating etcd directly with port routes. Why would they do that? No. By programming IP tables or IPVS rules. This is good, and I'll show you why. Okay, it's not about this is good, but you need to know the why. Okay, by injecting DNS record into every port. How this is too complicated. Why will you do that? By injecting an ingress controller. Now, if you don't know anything, kubeproxy. What is a proxy? Maybe you are new to IT, then that will be difficult for you. A proxy. Whenever we talk about proxy, we are talking about something to do with the network, the internet. Whenever it comes to something with the internet, then you have to think about the IP. If you think about the IP, what is responsible for IP? It's IP tables. IP tables. It helps us. It maps IP. It maps the communication on the network. Okay, so by programming IP tables, we will go with that. Okay, so we select by programming IP tables. Let's read the explanation. IP table commonly uses kubeproxy commonly uses IP table or IPVS to send service traffic to backend. That's all. So that will be it for the next 5 questions. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe for the next questions, because we have about 60 questions to go in this set. So if you're able to practice all these 60 sets, but please remember, get the link in the description down below, get the same product and then practice. Okay, I made this for you, and you'll be able to pass the exams without a doubt if you understand the concept. Okay, so without any further much ado, please don't forget to subscribe and share with somebody else who also wants to become a Kubernetes engineer. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye bye.